Hey, it's Corrina, and thank you so much for joining me today. So today we are doing yoga for a rainy day, or just a day that maybe you're kind of feeling emotionally blah. Maybe you can't get your energy up, or you just feel a little lethargic. This is a kind of feel-good yoga class to just kind of help move some of that emotional energy that can make us feel a little meh. So join me on your mat here. We're gonna start in this kind of kneeling position. So it's kind of like if we were preparing for a child's pose and we're just kind of sitting on our heels. And we're gonna find a nice tall spine here. Go ahead and notice the kind of sensation you may be feeling in the tops of your feet. So we're just gonna do a little bit of side stretching. So lift the arms up nice and tall, feeling lots of length through the spine. And then bring your right hand down to the mat next to you and start to bend over to the side. So to start, I want you to think about kind of keeping your hips still and just really stretching the side body here. Breathe. And as you exhale, maybe you bend a little more deeply, feeling this really nice stretch in the left side body. On your next inhalation, lift yourself back up through center. Go ahead and bring both arms up, and we'll do the other side. So left hand comes down next to you, and just reach over with your right arm. Maybe after a breath or two, you can bend a little more deeply. And your inhale brings you back up. Just roll the shoulders out a couple times here. And now we're gonna go ahead and roll down onto our back. So I know on a rainy day, all I wanna do is get back in bed. So I thought we would kind of go ahead and lay back here in the beginning of class. So go ahead and come lying onto your back here. And leaving your feet planted on the mat there, go ahead and lie back. We'll take a moment here to just kind of windshield wiper the legs. So if you bring your feet kind of to the edges of the mat, you should just have room to kind of move the knees from side to side, bringing a little movement into the hip. Breathing, noticing the sensations. And then we'll heel toe the feet back in a little bit so that they're about hip width distance apart. From here, we're gonna do a half happy baby stretch. So starting to open up the hips. So leaving this left foot planted, go ahead and lift up the right leg. And you can keep that knee bent nice and generously and just start hugging the knee in toward your body here. This hip flexor doesn't get compressed this way very often, so it may feel kind of intense as you compress that hip flexor. And then we'll just start to kind of make little circles with the knee here. Nice and gentle. And then from here, you can either keep your hand on your knee if that feels comfortable, or you can reach for either the side of your foot or this little toe lock where your first and middle finger come around your big toe. And then from here, we start to lift the foot up towards the ceiling. So I'm gonna keep my hand on the side of my foot here. So now with your foot kind of almost like it's gonna kick the ceiling, the hip is really compressed here. So now the whole thigh is kind of pressing against the belly. Feel that sensation. Pressing into the foot to get even more compression through the hip flexor. And then gently release the foot. then slowly place it back down. We're gonna do the other side. So take a moment here to just kind of adjust in neutral for a moment. And then leaving this right foot planted, we'll go ahead and lift the left leg, keeping the knee nice and bent, and just starting to pull the knee in towards the chest, compressing the hip flexor. Notice what feels different on this side. Notice what feels the same. Breathe. And then slightly guiding the knee towards the shoulder, starting to gently open up the hip a little bit here. And then making these little circles. So it's almost like you're feeling through some of the different ranges of the hip, but in this really nice gentle way where their leg is relaxed. Pausing in any places that maybe feel a little bit tight. And then as you're ready, starting to bring the foot up so it's kind of planted on the ceiling or parallel with the ceiling, and then hand either comes to the side of the foot or to the big toe, and we take our half happy baby here. So feeling that compression of the thigh against kind of the side of the body a little bit, right into the rib cage. Feeling kind of this different sensation that comes when we're in this position. But this is also kind of really similar to a lot of our other yoga poses. So taking this nice reclined position here to get our body used to this position, used to this sensation. It's just kind of a nice way to open up. Pressing the foot towards you once more, nice compression through that hip. And then nice and gently releasing the foot down, bringing it down here, and we'll take those little windshield wipers again. So bringing the feet out to the edges of the mat, just so you have enough room to kind of bring the knee in toward the center of your mat, or in towards your midline. And now we're gonna take our full happy baby pose. So we'll actually bring both legs up together. If it was feeling really intense for you, just doing one leg at a time, then maybe you wanna just continue doing one leg at a time, keeping one leg bent. But if you would like to take your full happy baby, we'll go ahead and start by lifting both of the legs up towards the ceiling. And then bringing the hands either to the side of the feet or to this little toe lock. So I'm gonna take the toe lock with my arms on the inside of my legs here, and then kicking the feet up towards the ceiling, bringing your knees toward your underarm. And you can kind of sit here still, or you can just kind of gently sway. It's pretty easy to tip over here, so you kind of want to keep the motion pretty slow at first. And after a few moments, maybe you transition. So with the arms on the outside of the legs, or kind of half in, half out, it's a bit more intense, but it feels really good in the hips. And from here, if you want to straighten one leg, start stretching through the hamstring there. And then bending that one, you have an option to straighten that other leg. Breathe into sensation. I definitely might even be able to see my leg shaking a little bit here as I'm getting that hamstring stretch. And then bending it again. One more moment in this happy baby. If this isn't comfortable for you, then you can kind of just go back to doing those windshield wipers. But over time, these poses become just yummier and yummier. I don't know how to describe it. They just feel better and better the more often that you do them. And the more that you use the muscles in your yoga practice or your workout practice, then they feel even better to come to these stretches. So go ahead, start to come slowly out. You can kind of use your hands to guide your knees back down to the mat nice and gently. So now we'll take a little spinal twist. So pressing into your feet to lift your hips up a little tiny bit, bring them over to the right side of your mat. And then let your knees kind of come and fall over to the side. So doing this with your knees bent makes it a little bit easier. So I like to kind of even hug my knees in a little bit as I twist over. And then you'll want to adjust so that this shoulder can also come to the mat. So I have to kind of lift my body up just slightly to let the shoulder come down. And now we really get this nice twist through the spine. If it feels okay, let your gaze fall to the side as well. And if you want a little more, you can use this hand to kind of put a little pressure on the top leg. Breathe into this twist. So we're feeling this nice stretch across the right hip. Nice compression coming through the abdominal muscles, abdominal organs. And just letting the spine kind of relax and feel this different position that it's not used to being in. Really nice. So now we'll slowly come out, lift your gaze back up to center. And then you can use your hands to help bring your knees back up, bringing the body back to a center position here. And just spending a moment in neutral before we do the other side. So then pressing into your hands, you can use your hands, use your feet, lift up, bring your hips a little to the left. Knees can come in and fall to the right. From here, adjust a little bit so that your left shoulder can open up and come to the floor, letting your gaze also fall to the left if that feels okay. Breathing into these sensations. Noticing what maybe feels a little different on this side. It's really easy for the body to have little imbalances from one side to the other. It's very natural. So we can just notice that without judging it as good or bad. It just is. And then slowly bringing your gaze back up through center, using your arms, pressing through your feet to come back to this central position. And then extend the legs long here. Go ahead and let them open up. So it takes a bit of engagement through the leg to have the toes pointing up towards the sky. So if you want, you can even kind of open and close a little bit, kind of feeling that engagement, and then how nice it feels when you just let them open up. So then from here, we're going to start to bring the heels in closer to your body. So coming into this reclined bound angle or butterfly position. So the bottoms of the feet kind of kiss together, or maybe kind of open up like a little book. And just go to the distance that's comfortable for you. So the closer you bring your feet in towards your body, the more intense you're gonna feel that stretch. So if it feels better to kind of leave like quite a bit of space there, that's totally fine. And I just want you to kind of notice the feeling of this stretch you're getting through the front of the hip. The sides of the glutes and hips also kind of get this opening and stretching here. And then if you want to kind of just notice what it feels like to bring one leg in a little closer and then switch. It's kind of a nice way to just kind of intensify that stretch, but just one leg at a time. And over time, I know for myself, sometimes you want to bring the legs in closer, feel more intense. Sometimes you actually want to come out of it a little bit more so that you can relax a little bit more. So now I've kind of let my legs come out pretty far, so my feet pretty far away from my body. Just kind of feeling this really nice stretch through the hips. And then go ahead and bring the legs out of that position so the hips come square again. And you can kind of let the feet open up if that feels good. Let the hips be completely relaxed. We'll just spend a few moments here in Savasana, letting the body take in some of that work that we've done. So finding stillness here and just paying attention to any sensations that you're feeling throughout the body, getting out any final wiggles or movements that you feel that you need here. So take one final breath here. I invite you to pause the video and spend a little longer in Savasana. Or as you're ready, we'll go ahead, bring the feet back to the mat, so knees bend, feet flat, so you can kind of lift your body up and come over to your side. Using the head as a pillow for just a moment. And then your arm that's planted can help lift you up to a seat. So bring the hands together at heart center. And take a really nice inhale, lifting up nice and tall through the spine, and drop the chin to the chest. The highest and brightest in me honors and bows to the highest and brightest in you. Namaste. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. And thank you for making some time for yourself. I really hope that this little practice helps you feel better and just kicks you out of that emotional slump that you might be feeling. Please join me again soon and have a wonderful rest of your day. Many of our subscribers don't see our videos. Make sure that you click the notification bell. And if you haven't already, follow us on social media for tips, tutorials, giveaways, and daily inspiration. Join us for 14 and 30-day programs, hour-long classes, and much more on our yoga app, Yoga Plus by Psychetruth. It's free to download and features a variety of wellness content, including yoga, fitness, Pilates, guided meditations, and interviews with dozens of wellness experts. Start your 14-day free trial today by clicking the link below.